Okay, welcome to Chapter 4, Part 1. We are going to learn how to write our own methods, which is very exciting. At some point, there we go. Okay, so as you write bigger and bigger programs, and you're already finding this, that you're writing lots and lots of lines of code, and it can get a little bit unwieldy after a while. You should know that games and other software can have thousands, even millions of lines of code. It gets kind of crazy. So how can you tighten it up and make it more organized? You can use methods. So what we've been doing is really Java. We've been doing object-oriented programming and object-oriented programming using classes, objects, and methods as the basic components. And you've seen that already. We've talked about classes and objects. We're going to focus on methods. These parts, as you might guess, help organize it into smaller chunks that are a little bit easier to deal with. And it helps you to think about an intricate program. This is where planning out using a storyboard or something called stepwise refinement is going to really help. It also helps you find and remove bugs because you can check it method by method instead of the entire program. So the way that we've been talking about classes is we've been using these 3D models that you've seen so far, and objects are an instance of a class. So you may have heard me say this already. When we put an object into our program, we are instantiating the object. Sorry, one more time, instantiating the object. So we've done this, but just a quick review. If the class is frog, then the object is frog, frog2, frog3. What I haven't pointed out to you, and it's time, is the uppercase and lowercase is really important. And this is important in Java as well once you get to program that. For a class, it's going to be capital letters. For an object, it's all going to be small letters as you put them in. Check it out in your own programs if you don't believe me. Okay, so far we've used built-in methods that have been written by Alice. And one of these, you've seen these, move, turn to face, etc. And the world my first method has been what's driving the entire thing. So before, what we did is we wrote everything in this one code with the snowman trying to get in touch with the snow woman. Now what we're going to do is write multiple methods ourselves. So this was the code before, super long, and it goes on, and this is really a pretty quick story. It didn't last that long. So the problem could be that your code just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and out of hand. So we want to fix this problem. Okay, so like I said, we're going to break it into smaller chunks. Here's a possible storyboard, and this really does tell the story still, same story. First part is that the snowman is catching the attention of the snow woman. Then he blinked his eyes, and then there's a reaction, a double reaction. She blushed, and he was disappointed. So what if we took that whole storyboard, that whole program, and put it into these 3 chunks? Guess what? These 3 chunks are called methods. Okay, so what we're going to do is then look at those chunks and break them down into smaller pieces. So for catch attention, we just take the code that you already wrote and put it into a method called catch attention. You'll notice that the 2 words are connected to each other. The way to separate them in your head is to capitalize each new word. This is what's known as stepwise refinement, which means breaking down a big thing into lots of little tasks and smaller tasks and smaller tasks. Stepwise functions you might have heard of in math, same idea. So we've planned out the storyboard. We're going to write a method for each task. So this is how you start a new method, and I'd really like you to try it on your own after I talk about this. So you go to World, the World tile, and you recognize these. Click on the Method tab, and then you're going to push the Create New Method button. Go ahead and pause the video and do it yourself, and I'll see you when you come back. Okay, welcome back. All right, let's take a look at what it would look like from our old. Okay, so here's the same code. I could play it again, but really the action's not going to change. That's not the point, so I'm going to stop it. But the way it looks is a lot more organized. Look at this. World.catchAttention, world blink eyes, world react. So that's it. That's all that's in world my first method. So you think, wait a minute, where did everything go? Well, I'm going to click on, you can either click on it using the edit buttons right here, or you can click right on it. So I'm going to click on world catch attention. Take a look, a new tab shows up. And so we had world my first method. Perhaps you've ignored it before. and now you've got a new tab, and that means that's a new method. And this method, you've just taken the code that we had before and copied and pasted it into here. All right, not that challenging. Blink eyes, same thing. And I'll click over here, and then React, same thing. And you'll notice that they all start with the word world, and that's because these were created as world methods. We will be talking about what that means. Okay, so I showed you how to make those methods. Something I should point out is all of them are considered world level methods. And the reason that we specifically put it under world as opposed to under the individual things is that when you have multiple objects in a method, it needs to be world level. The opposite of that is class level. And what we did is called the method, and we called it in my first method. Let me show you that again. Okay, so I showed you how to create them, right? Create new method. I'll just make one up. Hit OK, and then you can program whatever you want in this, right? So let's have, I don't know, Snowman played a sound. He sounds like a chicken. Whatever. But to make that happen, to call that, so I had a world dot blah, blah, blah. To call that, what I would do is drag it in right here. And then it would show up right there, and then whatever happens would play there. And hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so to really drive this point home, why do we want to write our own methods? It really saves time. You could call catch attention again and again and again. You could set it up as a loop, whatever. It reduces the code size. You saw how tight that world my first method got. It got so much easier. It's sort of like taking all your papers and putting them into binders under different file folders. And therefore, just like after you organize your papers and put them in a binder, you can now think at a higher level. And we all want to do that, of course. So you can sort of think to yourself, catch attention instead of blah, 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 blah. The technical term for think at a higher level is abstraction. So that's what we're aiming for here. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.